Welcome into this Tuesday edition, July 1, 2025. Chase Parham, Tyler Siskey here with you, Blue Sky Live this morning. We will hit some college athletics news, whatever you guys want to talk about. Siskey's about to take a road trip, about to be all Clark Griswold, headed to a golf tournament here this week. So we'll chat with you for a little bit here on the podcast brought to you every day by Blue Sky locations throughout the state of Mississippi, up and down I-55. They're out north Mississippi as well, all the way down to the epicenter down in Macomb. Sweet Daddies, they handle catering, they handle lunch specials, and hey, got some rib deals for you. 4th of July, one day only. Take advantage of that bad boy because you get racks of ribs at a great price here with Blue Sky locations wherever they are. So don't sleep on that. We'll make sure you follow up, you take advantage. Again, July 4th only, rib slabs 2 for $30 while supplies last at any of your Blue Sky stops that do those ribs. Neither one of us are in the Clark Ford studio, but Clark Ford is in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. Corey wants to be your car guy, wants to be your truck guy. Wherever you are in the process, let him help you out. Corey, great guy, and he will take care of you there with Clark Ford in Amory and all guests, I guess technically including Siskey at the moment, on the Campbell Clinic hotline. Campbell Clinic handling all your orthopedic needs in the Oxford area, including really specializing in pediatric orthopedics. So that's the Campbell Clinic in Oxford. And just take one quick second to tell you, if you haven't done that, you're interested in this year's edition of Blue Delta Jeans Delta Cup. It is Delta Cup 7. They're moving to Fallen Oak this year. It's on October 10th. They've been doing it in kind of the Waverly area. They had it in Oxford there for a bit as well, in kind of a two-course setup. But now Fallen Oak, October 10th, two-man teams instead of four this year. They're trying to up the amenities, up the stuff you get with that. So two-man teams. It covers golf, food, beverages, custom pair of Blue Deltas, of course, on the day of the tournament. You got special pricing on other items. Two-man entry fee, Fallen Oak, great golf course, tee gifting. You got included a room included too. You got resort room for Friday, October 10th. All taxes and resort fees included with the sign up. On course food and drinks, and a Friday night after party there as well. The inaugural Delta Cup trophy is up over my shoulder. We got that in year one, but not been able to replicate that in any year since then. Siskey, how goes it? What's up?
Man, doing good, brother. Just enjoying my nice cup of coffee this morning. It's beautiful July the 1st. Happy July 1st to everyone. Start of the fiscal year. Let's go. It's a good season for Quick U. Let's go. You know what I mean? Let's go. It's inaugural Quick U day. Let's go.
Did you start on July 1?
No, but that's just when the fiscal year turns over. That's when we get paid.
Oh, because you're on a college athletics clock because of the way it all works out with contracts and stuff.
Correct.
So
Correct.
Siskey's going to be rolling in like the next 15 days. He's going to think he's hit all the pay dirt here when these
Yeah,
these payments come in.
I'm retiring next 15 days. Then after that, I won't be retiring anymore. I'll just be like, damn, this guy like last 365 days.
What day did you start?
Like start
Like
the
what
company.
year? Yeah, like how long you been going?
I guess we officially opened the doors December of 2020 was when we started like workers in the office and started developing the product. Before that it was all, raising money and, starting, getting everything in line and all that stuff, partnerships in place. It was a one-man company until December of 2020. And then we kind of started development in 2020, December of 2020.
And when did you start the home visit podcast or whatever it was called there at the beginning?
Wow. Around that time, probably that next, like in February, maybe that next year. So February 21, maybe February, March of 21, something like that. Sorry, my dog is raising hell. Must
What's
be
he mad
somebody.
about?
Everything, anything that walks in front of the window.
Okay. So, I mean, I'm gonna move on. I've got stuff, but I'm always interested in your business for some reason. Um, I know you have exceeded probably your internal expectations from when you started, but either whether it be the podcast and how you've gotten into TikTok and all that kind of stuff with reach, or simply your Quick U company, just how above what you kind of hope for at this point.
Um, you know, I mean, it's kind of the Quick U is kind of going like I envisioned it, just because
Okay.
I had an inside track on it, understanding that part of the business being the quote unquote, we were GMs before, now they got the titles of GMs. That was always laugh when people make a big deal about that. It's been around for a long time.
They make more
So
money now, though.
they do make, hey,
Hey,
hey, they do make more money. I will never forget. This is completely off topic, but as you like to say, it's a Tuesday and now July. I was joking with somebody the other day. I got an absurd offer to get back in. What I considered an absurd offer to get back in. This would have been like two years ago. I've had two absurd offers over the last couple of years, and I was like, there ain't no way. I think they're just trying to get me to come up there or something. There ain't no way they're going to pay that. Well, now that's like that wouldn't even be the top 20 paid position at that spot now, right? So it's gotten it'd be top 20, but it was it's absurd money. But anyway, no, it's been really good. I enjoy it. The podcast stuff is went from being fun to where it's actually like, okay, now this can do something a little bit. So it's kind of that's probably been the most surprising part. Is I didn't envision the podcast part, right? So that was never a. It was for fun. Never was really any other intention but that.
Tyler's like those generals that retire from the army and immediately go to work for Lockheed and make the big bucks. Big Ben says there in the in the chat a second ago.
What's kind of cool is like I'm doing it. What's really funny to me is I'm doing the exact same thing I've
Uh
always
huh.
done. I've always done because that's kind of how QuickU works. Is we run our admin part just like your football team, right? So everything's literally my job. My day to day job never changed. It never changed, except now it's really cool is when somebody acts like a dog and pees in the end zone. I can't get fired. Like that's the cool part. You know what I mean? Like hey, the only person that can fire me is me, right? So that's the cool part. So I can do my job and not have to worry about some 18-year-old or 19-year-old kid acting like a dog in the end zone or donking one off the upright or whatever it is and getting us all fired. So that's the cool part.
Yeah, there's a
Somebody nobody's getting upset at QuickU at their no new investor at QuickU's getting upset at their little party and they're going to go, hey, I don't know these guys, but I'm going to
uh
write $1 million check and get rid of them. But hey, I will say this: if there's anybody out there that would like to write a big check, I'll go away now too if you really want to. Now this check comes to me.
yeah, when you stake your livelihood off the decisions and actions of a bunch of 18-year-olds, you're always asking for trouble in something. It's Ole Miss men's golf coach Chris Malloy. Like he always tells me, I coach the dumbest sport in the world because not only are you dealing with the 18-year-olds, but it's golf, which is all over the place too. He's like, where one day, who the hell knows? Like it just you got no shot of predicting anything as this plays
That's
out.
like, that's like all your fan base, all your Ole Miss rebels want to fire Mike Bianco every 5 minutes. It's like he didn't go out there and tell the guy to hang the curve. I promise you, he didn't say, "Hey, look, here's what we're going to do this pitch. I want you to go hang one and let him hit it 774 feet. Hey, but only do it in the bottom of the 10th. Don't do it any other inning."
I mean,
Just
look at Owen Pano. Came into the year supposed to be Ole Miss's shortstop, highly recruited kid that was projected to be a first round pick. And look, I'm not giving up on Pano because all the physical tools are there. It was a big freaking stage, and it was hard for an 18-year-old, and he just got in his head a little bit. And once it got in his head, it freaking spiraled, and that
hey, no,
happens. And
baseball's hard.
baseball's hard.
Hey,
Yeah.
do you ever? I was telling my wife, me and my wife actually had an intelligent baseball conversation last night. That was really impressive. I'm a baseball sicko. Like probably like you are to college. I like to Major League Baseball. So I'm
Hmm.
watching. I'm watching the Rangers and the Orioles last night. Don't ask. Watching the Rangers and the Orioles last night, and for whatever reason, in that game, both teams had to replace their catcher with their DH, and so both teams had their pitchers hitting from like the third inning on. Okay,
Hmm.
like and so what's the last time a pitcher hit in the major leagues, right? Because of the DH rule. So it's been a while. So like Jack Leiter went in for to hit for the Rangers, and the whoever the starting pitcher was for the Orioles hit like two or three times, and they look so, fish out of water, up there at the plate, swinging. And I told my wife, I said, what's crazy is they used to hit freaking nukes. I mean, they were the best
They were
hitter.
the best player on their team ever, probably in their program's history. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
they
yeah,
were
yeah,
the
yeah.
best hitter ever, wherever they came from. So if that kid is from Dubuque, Iowa, that kid is the best hitter that's ever walked the planet Earth in Dubuque, Iowa. And they look like a 9-year-old up there trying to hit.
Uh-huh.
So I was
Yeah.
like, she's like, really? You think they hit? I was like, yeah, that dude right there was the best hitter, maybe in the history of his state ever. And she's
Because
like,
he was
no
a
way.
shortstop on the days he didn't pitch, so that's what he did. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hey, and it's crazy as you think that just applies to like high school kids. I remember this
Oh no, it's
vividly.
college kids.
I don't know. I'm a little bit older than you. I got a couple more gray hairs in the goatee than you do. But
Yeah,
Tim Hudson was the Golden Spikes winner. He played
yeah.
center field and hit cleanup for a team that went to the World Series in the SEC, and then
Mm-hmm.
just pitched one day. This dude hit bombs. I mean, he hit. I mean, he raked in college, and he looked like a 9-year-old when he tried to hit in the major leagues.
I was always interested in college where because it was a pretty small baseline of what it needed to look like for a kid to hit or have the opportunity to be a two-way player as a pitcher and a hitter in college versus the ones that couldn't. Because, I mean, you would have, and I forget when Mike did this. Somebody in the stream probably can help me or a former player. I think if Ole Miss swept a series, they let the pitchers hit BP on like the next Monday practice or something. And I mean, guys like Lance Lynn and people just hitting, I mean, nuclear missiles out of that place where you went, hey, like if that's all he did every day, probably could do this a little bit. Well, I mean, Doug Nikhazy, when he went to Team USA in the summer, he was on a pitch count situation. They didn't want to get with his arm. He played outfield and hit for Team USA that summer.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
he was potentially an outfielder when it was when it was coming through. Um, Siskey was not very careful on the 24/7 Sports message board a little earlier, but I have to be a little more careful with what I say here. But I'm seeing some comments. I do think it's worth mentioning for a second. So today was the actual day that the merger has happened between On Three and Rivals. On Three has purchased Rivals. Everybody knew that at a national level. We were not in trouble at rebelgrove.com. That is not the reason for any switch, any change. It had nothing to do with the merger whatsoever. None. I feel like we talked about this a good bit when I went over, but the the wheels were already in motion. The contracts were already signed prior to the knowledge of this merger that happened today between On Three and 24/7. I'm sorry, On Three and Rivals. I need to make sure I get that right in my own out of my own mouth. Um, On Three has come out and said that Neil is with On Three through the end of July. They have said that in multiple places. They put it in Q&As. So just just chill out, gentlemen. Just chill out. That's all I'm saying here. Just chill. So
I
that's
didn't
all.
say anything.
No, says keep saying. No, you did nothing wrong. You're good. Hell, you're not. I mean, you can say whatever you want on the message board. You don't have you don't have a contract. And I didn't say anything. I'm just saying chill out. That's all.
I just, I just, I just don't work here.
I just don't work here.
You know?
Have you been gag ordered by McCready?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. Mm-mm. Nope. I have not. I hope he's just enjoying his vacation.
I think he's kind of got like a month of one. I don't think
he's,
he's doing much. I don't,
hey, he's had a few.
yeah. From a
Have some
podcast
more.
standpoint, look, we are kind of scattered in July with just some situation of travel and things going on. Like it's gonna feel very normal soon, even from a podcast standpoint. We're all gonna get back in town. It's gonna be all right. So just
Yeah.
everybody chill out. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's no the reason that Siskey has been on the last couple of weeks, once a week, is just simply that Neil has been on. He was chaperoning those 12 high school seniors last time, and now he's at the beach uh, with his family. Yeah, Big Ben. Neil will be calling the Hogs for On Three starting in August. No, that is not the situation. there.
That
Yeah,
would be
yeah,
great,
yeah,
though.
yeah. I know Avery. She says, Chase, we don't chill. You know this. I'm just saying it's July. Okay, so in August, I think we'll have normal podcast. It'll be all right. Everything will
That's the
feel.
that is the rumor. Yeah,
I mean,
that's
it's
the
what they
official.
said. They said he was with on three through July. I'm just repeating what they said.
Oh, is it?
That
They
came
posted?
straight in the Q&A. Yeah, they on three came out in the Q&A and said Neil will be at on three through the end of July to help with the transition. I'm just repeating that.
Okay.
So yeah. Do you? You're look. You're going to the John Deere. You taking some stuff. Like, do you get away okay? I mean, are you going to be able to like stop at all, or are you just like working through the trip?
No, no, it's dead period right now. So we kind of take our breaks when the coaches take their break, So it's
Mm-hmm.
dead period, and the cool thing is when it goes dead, particularly after the month of June, with official visits and all that stuff, everybody in the building's gone. So you know, but basically, whenever coaches take breaks is when we take breaks. So that's kind of how we schedule everything around it. So we take a good break, and then there's like a little bit of time after signing days, right? So in December and things like that, to where we don't have to. Um, that we can slow down a little bit. I'm fixing to go. Hey, talk for a second. Let me go. I got to fix this dog. He's driving me nuts.
Siskey headed out. No, I mean, Doors here at the stream says the sites are leaving so much speculation. End of July, what does that even mean? No one supports Rebel Grove because it's Rebel Grove. We support because of Neil and Chase. You guys aren't there. I'm not there either. I understand the frustration. I do get it. What I guess I'm asking for some tea leaf reading here a little bit is that with On 3 coming out publicly and saying that Neil was there through the end of July, and I am telling you that I do believe things are going to feel very normal in due time. Just read some tea leaves and what's going on. Again, I have to be Neil has to be a little careful. I've got to be a little careful, but this is not advanced trigonometry to figure out at that point. I think we were done a bit of a favor in the way that On Three categorized that in their Q&A here in the last 24 hours or so. So that's where we're at. That's all I'm saying is we're here. So
There's kids trying to those kids trying to come over and play. I'm like, dude, it's 8:30 in the morning. We should have a national law. You can't be coming over and play at 8:30 in the morning.
what's your rule on that weekday versus weekend? What time can your doorbell ring?
I don't have a rule. Just I got common sense.
Before 8?
Don't.
Before 9?
Yeah, let's go. Let's say 9:30.
Weekend feels at least 9, right?
Let's say 9:30.
9:30.
Yeah, let's go 9:30. You
All
know what I
right. What
mean?
about during what about during the week?
Noon.
Noon.
I'm I'm working.
Okay. All right. So let's we're going to change the name, Ryan. That is in the works. We still got to figure that out a little bit, but yeah, 24/7 will have a color change and a name change before too long. We're trying to figure out the color change right now.
Look, I've done this show twice now.
Uh
And
huh.
that's twice that name has come up, and that's twice I let it go. So
It, but
I
you're
should
laughing internally very hard right now. But
I should receive an award. That's twice I let that go because it's the FCC. They don't like me before this early in the morning.
help me a little bit. There is, I guess we'll call this news. I'll let you guide a bit. It's July 1, open source or whatever the NIL system is there to process all these payments and things. They had a record day yesterday, people trying to get in ahead of this July 1st deadline. So help me out a little bit. Explain to me, like I'm 5, starting today, how things are different in the house settlement revenue sharing space.
Yeah. So to break it down as simple as I can for everybody, in the past, collectives and basically collectives, not in the past. I mean, not anybody else. Collectives have been pay for play. All right. So we're moving pay for play, that burden from the collectives over to the school. Okay. So now schools are allowed to pay the players directly for the pay for play. All right. The house based on the house settlement, they're allowed to max out at not don't have to, but they're allowed to max out at 20.5 million for the entire athletic department. They can take 2.5 million of that and apply it towards new scholarships, which I would say, most big schools have done. Okay. So that usually leaves a starting point at about 18 million. And now how you split that money up is different based on every single school. I know the highest I know of, like I think I said this last time, was 90% was the highest I know of. I know another 86. But the median, which the average is 75%. Okay. So 75% going towards football, and they're going off the original back pay of the house settlement, which is 75% football, 15% men's basketball, 5% women's basketball, and 5% everything else combined. So
Yep.
again, other schools, each school changes that how they see fit. Okay, some are doing more basketball, some are doing more baseball, whatever it is, right? Less this, less that, but that is the base median average. Okay, so nobody's going 50% baseball or anything like that, right? So I think what you're seeing, particularly in the SEC, is I think you're seeing you're going from 11.7 to 34 scholarships in men's baseball, and I
They are.
think that's their way of NILing, paying the players, because if they give them NIL money, they still got to pay for school, right? So I think the scholarship is taking some of that pressure off of baseball a little bit for the teams that are deciding to do that. But with that being said, that's where now the school is responsible for pay for play. All right, a lot of universities have dissolved their collectives. Okay, I personally wouldn't have done that. I think there's actually, in my opinion, there's actually function for the subscription model, which I think is really cool. That I don't know, I don't think they did this on purpose, but when you look at how the Grove Collective has really been successful with the quote unquote, the subscription model, the $20 a month and things like that, now all of a sudden that becomes a viable option, right? So anything over $600 in the
Mm-hmm.
through NIL space or anything outside has to go through NIL Go, aka Deloitte,
Yep.
and they will determine what the market value is. So if you know, I'm a firm believer. I still haven't heard of anybody being upset yet. I'm a firm believer that this is going to basically what they're trying to protect is the Grove Collective can't go add another $1 million on top of a salary for somebody. Anybody that's any kind of payment that's based from a booster or somebody related with the school is the ones that are going to be really sticky on. I don't think they're going to judge market value for somebody that's truly outside. So if Visa comes to Oxford, Mississippi, and offers Austin Simmons $4 million for a commercial, I
Yeah, of
think they're
course.
rubber stamp that and go, because that's it. They're going to view that as his market value, right? What they will rubber stamp, they won't rubber stamp. They're going, if the Grove Collective, I'll be interested with like Realtree, people that have you know bona fide relationships with inside the university, how they're going to do that. I'll be even interested in something like C Spire. But C Spire has been really good about doing things at both schools in the state. So, but I still would be interested to see what they say about that. But they're basically trying to cut a way of genuinely fudging the cap with other payments. And I was talking about this too. I was talking about this on TikTok Live the other day. I don't know if the NFL has a system in place like this, but if you really think about it, all these owners, there's a reason they're an owner. They're a very successful business person, right? You don't see Patrick Mahomes doing Hunt's ketchup commercials.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm sure, I don't know if it's an official policy or what the deal is there. I don't know if, I'm not inside the NFL, so I don't know, but uh, they could definitely fudge the cap on some of their businesses, but you never see it, right? You never see anybody from the Jets doing a Johnson and Johnson commercial. You don't see anybody at the Broncos doing Walmart commercials. So it would be. I'm imagine it's something like that. But yeah, that's basically what it is. And there's ways to quote unquote. I think there's ways to manipulate the cap legally, and that's why I would not do away with the collective.
Okay, so it came out this morning, and you alluded to this a little bit in different ways people are doing. You know, Georgia, as we said, is closing their collective. They're using Learfield to do all of their NIL deals. They are going to have up to 5 employees through Learfield that just simply work on NIL deals for Georgia. Do you see a purpose, or what do you think the purpose is in the schools like Ole Miss that have collective, this Magnolia third party that's going to help do all this, and then also the foundation versus schools like Georgia that are simply just doing, hey, Learfield's doing this, and then we got the school? I mean, is that extra step impactful at all? Because in my mind, the only reason it's impactful is that there are a lot of people, including some in the stream, who give this monthly amount, and it allows that to continue to fold, and they find ways to either use that money for administrative cost, or they use that money in connection with businesses to then put together quid pro quo deals.
Yeah, I think you got basically three options here, right? They fold
Okay.
several that have right that are like Georgia. I think there's others out there. SMU's I think is going away, and I think there are some collectives that are going away. I think some are being absorbed by the athletic department as fundraising arms of the athletic department. And then the third way is, like I said, I think the way I think there's ways to manipulate the cap legally, by the law, by the rules, right now. But there's way until they don't like that. Somebody's going to do it. And look, there's like I think I said this on here last time, but like what I would do, the first thing I would do is like legally, you could once a month you could do autograph signings, you could do appearances once a month. And those things already have established market values. You can fudge your cap by 50 to 70% by doing it that way through your whole team. And there are ways to do that and ways to because market values have been set, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
don't need to talk before. So there are ways to now it would take, again, the trick is this. And look, I said this, you don't understand it. I don't understand it. 99.9% of the people, 99.9999% of the people listening to the show would never understand it. But the bottom line is anything that like players don't want to work for money. They want to play for money. And it's one thing to say, hey, I guess that would be the negative to what I'm talking about doing is it's one thing to say, hey, show up and we're going to get you $40,000. They'll be like, I don't know, man. I've been busy all week. I just want to hang with the guys. What? Like what? Like you want to smack them? Like they don't understand. And that's the whole reason we're in this mess to begin with. Is it will blow your mind. I mean, some of the horror stories will blow your mind about people not wanting. I mean, look, I'm close to people in this business, very close. It would blow your mind that there are deals that somebody's getting paid a couple $100,000 and they're not and they're bitching about
For
showing
hours,
for
a
like
couple
hour,
hours.
2 hours or anything like that, and they're bitching about showing up. And it's
Oh,
it's
it's
hot.
it's ridiculous. It is
It's
mind blowing.
it's hot outside. I don't give a shit if it's 207 degrees and we're on the turf. You're giving me $100,000 an hour. I will do the shoot naked. I mean, what are we? I mean, what are we doing? I mean, but that's the world we're in. That's the world we've created. So nobody's doing anything for it blows your mind with that. But the players are wanting to get as much money as they can with just playing football, and it's actually a disgusting, gross view on humanity when people don't want to do really easy things for a lot of money.
Got a question here, and I'm not leaving that topic, but walk-ons are grandfathered in to some extent, or players are grandfathered in. What's going on with the roster?
So they're going to be grandfathered in down to getting back to the original house settlement in there. That was stated, but they're going to basically not cut anyone and let their eligibility run out or whatever it is, right? So they're you don't have to cut someone for roster space. They're going to allow them to naturally grandfather in as their time goes out to get to the house settlement.
Wicked brew. I'll stand outside in a lightning storm for 100K an hour. Pretty much, yeah. That's how that would work. 100%.
Hey, with a
Yes.
golf club raised above your
Oh,
head,
happy to. Yes, right here. I'll take my chances. Just see what
under,
happens.
under a tree.
No, it's people can't fathom it, and I get you not being able to fathom it. I'm completely with you on why you don't understand it, and I would be right there with you if I didn't know a minuscule amount of examples compared to Siskey over there. Or that this is absolutely true in so many ways. And I think back to the Grove Collective real quick, because I'm seeing more comments in the stream about this. They have a really good brand with the Grove Collective where people understand it, they appreciate it to an extent. There is a lot of name value in giving and understanding what they do. Walker's still very much involved with contract negotiations, things along those lines, and it's been something the university's been smart about because from a straight donation standpoint, outside of the monthly payments that were locked in through the Grove Collective, the foundation was already raising 95% of that money, the overwhelming majority of that money for the Grove Collective. So there's not a ton of administrative switch in those ways, and you're able to still keep the name value and the understanding as people know it with the collective. So I understand completely why they're doing the way that they are, the way they're doing with this.
Yeah, no,
We'll see.
I don't think. I hope. I think a lot. I think most do. Um, I think what Walker's done with the Grove Collective over the last 3 or 4 years, and it's not just Walker; it's everybody involved. But I think the Grove Collective single handedly by itself is probably 90% responsible for Ole Miss's athletic success in the last 3 or 4 years. I mean, I don't think it's appreciated enough. I think it's something if you're an Ole Miss fan, and I know we like to give coaches credit and we like to give players credit, and they're kind of behind the scenes. But what they've done, uh, being out in front of everything, and what Walker's done, since he joined, I think is probably the most underappreciated thing in Ole Miss athletics in the last 3 or 4 years.
They're always on those lists, and I trust your judgment on this. I mean, they don't have the resources that a Texas or a Texas A&M or a Tennessee does by sheer size and money and alumni power and those things. From a Moneyball pound for pound, have they done as good of a job as anybody in the country
Yeah, I mean,
relative to
like
what they have to work with?
100%. The thing that I've been most impressed with is when you're, right, wrong, or indifferent, per sources allegedly, I may know, you know, uh, Ole Miss, right, wrong, or indifferent, is not a school that has a bunch of wealthy donors. They have a few, and I think they've to get those basically get those relationships to where those people they've literally done those relationships to the point to where they're able to go back and back and back and back, and where they've kind of been limited on the booster fatigue that a lot of places are suffering from.
Yes, Big Ben. Lane Kiffin is only 10% responsible for the success at Ole Miss, says Tyler Siskey. There's the quote for the day.
Hey, Big Ben. Hey, Big Ben. You just remember Nick Saban went 6-6 and lost to Monroe without players. Y'all just remember that. Y'all just remember that. Y'all can. Hey, that's probably about accurate, actually.
You have a
Just remember.
business right now because it's about the Jimmies and the Joes.
Just
It's
remember.
the
Nick Saban went 6-6 and lost to Monroe before he had players. He didn't get smarter overnight. Yeah, Lane Kiffin went like 2-10 at FAU before he got players. I mean, it's a fact. It happens. You got to have
the
them.
the dude in the locker room. That's what it is. That's
Yeah. Hey, how many of those guys on that team last year? How many of those 8 draft picks were recruited instead of bought out of the portal? Do you know?
they were all bought out of the portal, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't know that. I was just asking. I wasn't aware of that. You're telling me that Lane Kiffin didn't coach them up once they got to Ole Miss, or were they purchased out of the portal? I was confused.
Well, they did develop. I mean, Dart was there 3 years. JJ was there for a while. I mean, it worked hard to make them better. They developed them. That's what
Yeah,
Joe
Dart.
Mangum's trying to do right now in baseball. He's taking the guy from North Dakota State and St. Louis and their metrics monsters and going, you know what? I'm gonna coach you up. I'm gonna
Yeah,
fix it.
Dart had no talent. He just started at USC before he got here. He was terrible before he got here. Yeah, he was awful. And Walter Nolan was garbage before he showed up in Oxford. I mean, Walter Nolan was trash before he ate at Handy Andy's, and that's what really turned the corner.
Well, he was a character risk, and they fixed his character. Siskey.
Yeah, I live in reality. I do. I live in this place called reality. It's all reality's out here, right? And then when you put those red and blue glasses and you got your Colonel Red phone pulled up real tight, you can't see anything but
Oh,
outside right
look
here.
at you doing the binoculars thing. See, right
Yeah,
back
that's what I
back
was
at it.
doing. I was just looking at. I was trying to look through my funnel of reality.
Funnel of reality. I like that. You ought to get that on a t-shirt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
be good. Oh, right next to Circle of Trust.
We're going to let that soak in for a second. While we're doing that, tell you real quick about NE Spark, the fastest, most reliable fiber internet option available, whether you're streaming the Rebels or connecting with family and friends. Both residential and business packages with speeds up to 2 gigabits. Learn more, register for service, nespark.com. NeSpark, get connected, stay local. Also, G&M Pharmacy, 662-236-2222. They deliver locally in the Oxford area and offer MedSync to fill your prescriptions the same day each month and take care of you. So whether you're in Holly Springs with Tyson Drugs or G&M in Oxford, 662-236-2222. You want to promote anybody real quick while we're talking, Siskey? You good?
I'm good, man.
Okay.
Quick, that
I was
we
just
got a lot.
giving you a I was just giving you a lane there. Didn't know.
All good.
I knew y'all were taking a little break too.
Yep, everybody's on break. Everybody's on break. Everybody's on break. We'll be back. We'll be back soon. Whenever
Which
whenever Neil gets off vacation, I don't know when that's going to be, but whenever he comes back from vacation, we'll crank it up.
when are you what's your viewing plan for the John Deere? Are you just walking with certain groups? You trying to post up at certain holes? What are we doing? Because you're headed out to see your boy this week.
Yeah, we're gonna go. We're gonna go follow Taylor Moore with myself and Knox and Brock. We'll go follow Taylor Moore, watch him warm up, and then Knox thinks he wants to be a golfer at 9 years old, so he'll get to see. That'd be cool. It's just he's there won't be probably as many people following Taylor, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I've never been, so I don't imagine it will be too packed, being the 4th of July weekend. But we're going to take a little road trip since the week's a little dead, and we had everything wrapped up here at Quick U starting tomorrow. I'm going to give the boys off at Quick U tomorrow off and Thursday off. So we've got everything wrapped up, and then go follow Taylor and watch him play, and then whatever else happens. I probably got to be on my best behavior since I'll have my 2 kids with me. So probably won't be as many Diet Millers drank, allegedly.
How long you staying?
We're just going to go Thursday, Friday. So we're just going to go for 2 days. So we'll catch other guys. I don't think there's not a lot of big names in it. So you got it's because everybody's getting ready for the British Open, getting ready to go across the pond.
What's the one tournament you'd like to have all access to? If you got one.
Like all access as far as I've been to the Masters twice, but I would still like to go like into the clubhouse and do those things. Like they got some other things there that I haven't done. There's
Mm-hmm.
like I can't remember the name of it. You may. There's some kind of house that they talk about that I know my man Bob over at Monster. He's got to go in once. There's like off the fifth hole that
Oh
there's
yeah.
so that would still be it. I don't know how many PGA events you've been to. They're all kind of the same now.
They
You can
are.
get they will sell every grounds pass that they can sell. They'll never sell out. They're never sold out. You can get any kind of grounds pass at any time you want to go do the thing. It's a great deal. All kids get in free, so kids are free. And the upsell part is the air conditioned tents now. So if you want to get tickets to like all you can eat concessions and all that stuff, it's those tickets are a little bit more expensive, but that's where the upsell is.
that I know people that are kind of from that area that love that John Deere thing. Like I know it's kind of like this, the Barstool guys are all in on it and whatever because of Trent being from there and whatnot. But I think that's a pretty well run, fun event. If you're gonna pick a random one, I think you're picking a really good one.
Yeah, I
Just
mean,
from
I literally looked up and saw how far it was away, and I was like, oh, why not? I didn't have anything else to do. I did smoke some wings yesterday. I mean, it was either that, it was either me going to the golf tournament or smoking meat on the Traeger all weekend. So I picked the golf tournament. Probably cost about the same.
what'd you put on the wings?
Dude, I saw a video, and they were
All right.
really good. By the way, they were really good. So it was my first time smoking wings, and so I didn't have a lot of time yesterday. So I looked for what meat I could smoke fast. No diddy. But I did. I put the Traeger on 375, and so it was hot. And then I completely dried them. Put some
Mm-hmm.
sweet and hot rub on them, and then for 30 minutes, left them on for 30 minutes, and then at 30 minutes, I flipped them, and then I made like a baste, okay, of brown sugar and butter, and then I brushed them, flipped them, 10 minutes on it, 10 minutes, flipped them, 10 minutes, and they were off. So 50 minutes total, and they were perfect,
And the Traeger's never gonna mess it up. Just every time.
brother. Look, look. I can.
Cheating
You
like
know,
hell. Fine with it. Just just
how,
just cheating like hell.
you know how my man Neil always says you can pull my man card or whatever you gonna do, all that stuff. Dude, y'all can just yank mine away, give me a penalty, rip it up. I don't care. I'm not capable of doing anything else. Like green egg and stuff like that. No, I
You
mean,
can work the egg.
no, I really can't. I don't think you understand. There's things
You
I can do.
can. The problem is it just takes so much time. Like you're
Look,
having to mess with it and make sure it's but you
Chase,
feel but you feel success when you're done.
Neil,
You earned
Chase,
it.
both. I'm telling
You
you both because
earned it.
he may hear this. I'm just letting you know. One of my strengths in life, like I don't have many, but one of my strengths is I know what I can do and I know what I can't do. And I don't do things I can't do. Maybe that's the competitive part of me. I don't do the only thing I do that I can't do is be really good at golf. That's it. That's the only thing I do, and I can hit the hell out of it, so it makes me feel better. But I have no idea where it's going. That's it. That's the only thing I do that I'm not very that I only thing I try to do that I'm not good at.
You do hit the ball a really long way and for somebody who plays a little bit an average golfer. And that's not a bad thing. It's hard to be an average golfer, frankly. Um would you like to shoot 5 shots better, but your drives go 40 yards shorter? Would you
So I've
take that?
I've made a you don't know this, but
Okay.
I've switched. I went and got fitted for clubs.
Okay.
Uh, I got new irons. That's not the problem.
Did
The
you get Mizuno's? Did I ask you? Did we talk about this? Yeah.
I got JPX hots,
Okay.
and those things are hot. I don't know if they got. I don't even know. I don't know if Kyle sold me the ones that are like up. I don't know. I'm carrying my 7 iron 205.
But are they not just degreed up?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, they're probably like +2.
Probably, but like I'm sitting
But
there. But what it's
mentally, you think that helps you?
no,
Well, then what?
It's hurt me because I kept my wedges, and so I have a massive gap between my gap wedge and my pitching wedge. But what I did, you'd be proud of me, is so I got a driver that cut down the spin rate on my driver by half, and so I hit it straighter. Okay, I hit it straighter.
Okay.
So, but I've taken about 15 to 20 yards off my drive with that driver. It's not as hot as my other one. Now it goes straighter, but it took some distance off. But here I'm messed up right now because as you've played with me, I like to play a fade. And so I've always like for the last 15 years lined down the left side of the fairway and let it rip. Okay. Now if I overcook it or block it, yeah, I'm messed up. But I've always when I'm hitting the ball well, line down the left side, let it rip. Well, now this thing's going straight, and so I'm in the left junk. And so naturally, like a normal person, I would line up straight down the middle. Well, now I can't clear my hips, and so I'm blocking everything. So I'm all messed up right now. So I got to
I
figure it
just
out.
Yeah, I'm proud of you because that's what I wondered. I wondered if you just wanted the long ball, even if it meant you were going to shoot 5 shots worse.
I'll tell you what, this driver's got about 2 more rounds in it, or she's getting benched. She's got 2 more chances. She's
Because
gonna
it's
get.
hitting it straight and you can't fix your own head.
Well, no, I got medical issues actually that I can't. I have a tough time clearing from my accident,
Okay.
so I always have to play with an open stance anyway.
Okay.
Um, but so when I try to line up straight, I can't clear. So I have to line up left, and then it goes straight. So I need to figure that part out. I will. I'll either figure it out or she'll go in the garage in the bench. I have a bench bucket in the garage. I have clubs that get benched for a little while. I got several putters and wedges in there right now.
Because it's absolutely their fault.
It is 100%.
Yes. William P says, I just got my first World Championship prize last Monday, 8 days in. Congrats
Let's
to you.
go. Let's go. Congratulations.
Sleep when you can sleep.
Yes.
Sleep when you can sleep.
Yes.
And you're not going to break it.
No. I had to explain it to somebody. Who was it? I was talking about, one of my buddies, I think, just had their first kid. I was like, yeah. I was like, your first one, you're like this. By the third one, you're just throw them around. You know,
And your youngest is fine. It's worked out. It's
they'll
cool.
be fine.
No,
They'll live. Feed them, and water them. They'll be good.
feed them and water them.
It's a trick. And when they cry, they're tired, or they need their diaper changed, or Motrin, one of the three.
Going back to the earlier thing as we get close to wrapping here is I, you've obviously done really well with Quick U, and you mentioned getting offers and stuff and whatnot, but there's no way you could have any part of your company even from an outsized role and get back in at all because there's just too much data and information that would be available, right? Like even if you weren't day to day operated, like once you started Quick U, that ended that ability in every capacity, I would assume, even if you're not front and center with the business.
I never say never, Chase. I never say
Yeah.
that. I mean, there's a way to do it. I mean, I would just sign the company over to my wife and then go do it. But
But you would need no access to the information because you know too much about every other school.
no, I wouldn't have access to my own
Yeah.
information. That
Yeah.
would be that would be
Yeah. That's what I
against the.
mean. That's what I
But
mean. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't do any. I mean, where my I wouldn't do anything to put my company in jeopardy. I can promise you that. I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of like retirement plan A, right? So, yeah, I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't do anything ever to risk. It's kind of like betting, right? I enjoy betting, but like I had no problem not betting when I was working because that puts your job in jeopardy. You know, you like so. I'm actually a normal human being that can like turn it on, turn it off. But yeah, I would never do anything to put my company in jeopardy. But yeah, I would if I ever got back in, which like never say never. I have no immediate plans. But if I ever got back in, I would just sign the company over to my wife.
Charles Gardner saying, why'd you decide to start Quick U in Oxford?
Good question. We had moved 10 times, and my kids were at that time they were in I guess middle school or fixing to go to high school, and had friends here. Like Oxford, it's a great town for families. Uh, we looked at, and it was in the middle of the pandemic, right? So it was very difficult to decide what we were going to do there. Decided to stay here for a little while, and then the plan was to stay here for a little while and then move to either Charleston or Greenville. But then when you start a company and taxes and things like that, I didn't feel like burning up $250,000 in the like I would literally light $250,000, a little over $250,000 on fire to do it. So I just
Was
figured
really
I wouldn't do that. A little over $250,000. So I decided not to
wow.
on fire.
Is there a point where you would move once kids are out of the house or whatever? When you got what's
I
the plan?
want to go to Charleston's kind of my happy place. I've always wanted to live in Charleston, or not necessarily in Charleston, but on the islands. That beach, man, something about it. I don't know what it is. Something about it. When you can look as far as you want to the left and far as you want to the right, you see like two people. That's my with golf courses. That's pretty fun.
You don't want the guy next to you got the radio blasting. You got a kite flying over your head while you're on the beach. I mean, you're a beach etiquette person. Get the hell away. Let's get in our space. Noise pollution's a thing.
I didn't really notice I didn't really. I'll be honest. I didn't know it was a bad problem until I probably got to Alabama. Was probably
Uh-huh.
when I it's probably when I noticed it was a problem. I've always gone to Orange Beach or Gulf Shores or somewhere like that. Grew up going down there, and then as coaches, you only have a certain amount of wardrobe, right? Like you don't own other clothes, and so we went to the beach. I think it was Orange Beach. We went to Orange Beach, and it was like ants. They were everywhere. People were everywhere, and I had on like an Alabama shirt and a hat at the beach, and I had a bunch of people, want to come up and talk recruiting or whatever it was, and I was just like, "Holy shit! I just want to drink a Doc Miller and be here." And then you start like
But were
people
they
are looking.
asking you because they knew you were a staff member, or asking you just because you got an Alabama shirt on and want to know what's going on with Trent Richardson today and
Well, no,
you're in recruiting?
I don't think they like just recognized me until I
That's what
think
I
the
mean. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Alabama shirt made them look twice, or whatever, and then they did, and then they started figuring things out, and
Oh God.
it was all day, every day for 5 days, and I was like, and then the next week we went to Charleston, and I did the same thing and didn't talk to one person. So I was like, yeah, I want to go where I can just because look, you do that every day, and so at that point in time at Alabama, you know, we worked literally 365, and the only time we had off, that was the only real time we had off. And so I didn't want to be working. I wanted to be with my family. So um, I like getting away a little bit.
That has to feel more cherished on the days when you have so few of them. It's like, don't mess up one of these 5 days because this is what this is it. Like I've got to recharge, do some family stuff. I've got to hit so many different things in this finite week, and if not, we're just rolling.
The
Here
one
we
that
go.
broke is my kids were little, man. They were like 6, 7, 8, something like that. And they were playing in the sand or something. And I was down by the beach or something, sitting with them by the sand, whatever we were doing. And somebody wanted to come have a conversation right at me. You know what I mean? Like it was like that was the moment that I was like, yeah, bump this. We got to figure something else out.
You got a bunch of people already kind of in your mind for when August rolls around for McCready and Siskey, guests and coaches and whatnot. You already started planning a little bit. What's going on?
No, not really, but I will.
Okay.
I I don't. I usually go about. We'll have a show, and I'll be like, it really depends on what's going on, right? So, usually it just depends on what kind of how much time we have and all that stuff, how many shows and prep and all
Because
that
you're
stuff.
pretty organized. Like I'll walk in, and you'll still have like the outline will still be on the table from when you were in the seat, and it makes me look kind of bad over here when I just got a couple things written down and just a few topics, and I'll
I
get
got
through it. Siski's like going boom, 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 boom.
Well, if it makes you feel better, it takes about 15 minutes. I do that about 15 minutes before I leave. So I don't really. It's just literally I'm on my computer anyway. I type it and then print it and let's go.
Yeah, gotcha.
So I don't really get too far into it.
Yeah. All right, we will cut it there for the day. Appreciate everybody in the stream. Good little crowd. Glad for the comments. And again, just everybody chill out. It's gonna be all right as we move forward. People taking some vacations. I've got some time coming up here. We got SC Media Days starting on the 14th, I think is Lane's day. He's that Monday, whenever it is. So 13 days from now. So I guess that's when it is. 13 days from now. Lane, Vanderbilt, South Carolina, and LSU, I believe, are the teams there on that first day in Atlanta. So we'll have coverage, we'll have podcasts. I don't know if Neil's going or not. I can't really figure out what his situation is for that week. I'm at a bit of a loss. We've been going back and forth on whatever he's doing or not doing there. So anyway, we will keep you updated. Again, thanks to you here in the stream, and we'll talk to you again very soon.